Welcome to ToV Live. It is Valhalla
Valhalla
time.
time. Oh, you usually go like a different cadence to it. There was a different level.
Wait,
Change
I
it up.
wasn't told about a sync-up intro like that. You guys didn't tell me that we're gonna
I
do that.
thought
I
that would
didn't
be
know that.
fun.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Sorry,
we
it
were
was
gonna
a
do that.
surprise. I surprised everybody.
I guess
Okay,
my
fair enough.
I wasn't very high tonight. Well, it's because there
No,
are
you
people
weren't.
sleeping in the house, and it projects, and so I can't not go as loud as sometimes I do. It just depends on
Well,
who's.
He's awake in my apartment, so welcome is the Tales of Valhalla podcast.
Hey, welcome everybody. Happy Sunday night to you. Yes, we actually took 2 weeks off previous because, well, Mother's Day, and that type of things happen. It only happens one time a year, and you gotta celebrate mom. So that's why we're doing it this week. And what we have for you tonight is just mainly something that, well, we'll discuss that in a second. But
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say like what's one unit in Heroscape that's actually a mother? Is there, or do we have any mother characters in the Heroscape units lineup?
Empress Kiova.
No, I don't think she has. They didn't mention she has children.
Isn't Queen Beatrix technically a mother?
Technically,
Technically.
that's a good one. I like it. Yes.
You want to celebrate Mother's Day with the Queen of the?
Yes.
Well, is she a mother or not? It seems
Yeah.
binary to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's very ladylike, but
Perfect.
she's definitely a mother.
Children, I guess, would be how I describe it. I don't know. She's a mom.
Anyway, happy Sunday to all of you out there on the chat, all of you viewing, all of you who might be listening or watching to this later, those of you on YouTube, Twitch, on the audio sphere, welcome to the ToV podcast. And of course, we have with us tonight myself, Ryan, Tales of Valhalla. We have Sir Joe Crazy. We have Jason, Rocker Robotics. We have Sir Jeremy, the Celestian College, and we have two guests with us. And actually, I forgot to explain this at the beginning. This is my mind today.
You're so out of order.
Oh,
It's
it is just so out of order. But what I'm going to have you do first, I'm going to go to Lex, and just for like 30 seconds, introduce yourself to the stream. Why are you here? What you're about? Go ahead.
Sure. My name is Alexandros. You can call me Lex for short. I've been playing Heroscape on and off since Rise of the Valkyrie plagued Toys R Us in 2004. I have gotten myself involved with a couple different customs projects, C3G, and then more recently I got to join the guys at NGC, probably as the last person who was a founding member. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
All right, and
Okay.
Shiftrex. Say what?
Hey, this is Shiftrex. You can also call me Chad.
Chad.
Also been playing Heroscape forever since it came out in Toys R Us. I remember all the special Walmart editions and stuff like that. Geez, I've been on Heroscapers, the website, forever as well. Didn't make a profile forever, but I did a lot of early playing and testing when BC was getting started up. One of the first units that I officially tested was the Durgath Ravagers back in the day. Really fun unit. Anytime a custom unit project at all pops up, I try to at least look at it or get involved. Most of the work that I've done is over in C3G right now.
Cool. So these guys have a little bit of knowledge about playing Heroscape, and before we do the introduction, I am gonna give a little bit of a disclaimer. If this stream all of a sudden just stops, it's because I've had internet issues today. I've tried to fix them, didn't fix them, but we decided, you know what, we're gonna do it anyway, and just try to get this main topic done in the next hour and a half or so. And so that way to get this out here. So if something gets interrupted, that's why. Okay, disclaimer done. And so what I like to intro with first is the fact that, of course, and it still hurts to say, Age of Annihilation when all failed, and I remember saying about a week before it failed is that, you know, we got to take the hit. If the campaign was going to fail, we got to take the hit and move on. And I think like when I saw the announcement of what you guys were, and I'm just going to pop it up real quick. Wait, not that. There you are. Okay. Yeah, New Generation Customs. I think I first saw a post on Facebook, and I think this was like, a little over a month ago, I think. That was huge news. I'm just like, whoa, I got to pay attention to this. What is going on here? And this is basically, you got a group of guys, and I think this is exactly what, like, Avalon Hill, what Hasbro needs to see, is that the community is basically saying, we're going to do this with or without you. And without you, fine. We're going to still do it. And so I loved what I saw, and basically friended these guys pretty much right away on Discord. So I'm like, okay, they're probably going somewhere, and let's keep an eye on this. And now we got them on the show tonight. So yeah, New Generation Customs. I think I said that. Is that right? NGC, right? Right.
You got it.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Explain, guys, a little bit about this, or do you just want to read through the website, because it's explained really well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, there is a link description below for the website, which you can check out. And in the website, there's links to all the social media stuff where you can be involved, because they're also having people come involved. But I'm saying everything. Please, Chad or Alexa, please explain to us a little bit about this.
Sure. Chad, did you want to take this? You want me to take it? I don't want to steal the spotlight here.
Start. Go ahead.
Sure. So I mean, I can, if you want, I can just read through the about, or I can kind of explain in my own words. But really, there was, I don't know, maybe other people see it differently than the way I do, but it felt like shortly after Age of Annihilation failed, even after we were able to see kind of a lot, we saw like what, 2/3 of the units they did for AoA, or was it closer to half? I don't actually have the numbers in front of me. Someone can correct me if they want.
Yeah, I mean, it was
like,
a good chunk. So.
No matter
Yeah,
what, it
30
was
cards.
painful. It was very painful. At the
yeah,
end.
there was a little bit of division about whether or not people actually wanted to pick those up, whether or not people wanted to actually workshop what we did know into things that were kind of a little more cohesive as a unit. Like, there were units that we knew things about. Like, something that comes to mind is, I remember Craig Van Ness on the AoA stream when they like announced it on HasLab, went into detail talking about like what he thought Sergeant Drake did. And there were a bunch of like little blurs where they're like, yeah, you know, this is what it does, but we never saw it. Which left us with like half of a jigsaw puzzle. And I know there were a lot of people who kind of had their own thoughts on how that should be completed, or, you know, what should be done, who just kind of either didn't want to do the work, or they kind of did it for the play group and then they just left it be. So I know that part of the effort was to come together and, you know, go through the work of playtesting it, and, well, designing it and playtesting it and rebalancing it and then taking it back to playtesting and, you know, repeat until you have an actual like finished product. And then from there I was like, okay, what would Heroscape continue to look like, right? Because if an Age of Annihilation got kickstarted, they put $2 million something into getting all these copies out. There's probably more coming after that, right? Like, and clearly, and Carmine put all this work into these bios, and he intended for it to go somewhere. I hope, at least, that seemed to be, you know, the impression we got. So we kind of picked up from there, and we built from that. And yeah, I guess I'm kind of over articulating it, but that's really the foundation of where we started at. So, and it just went from there, and we had a bunch of people who were really passionate about Heroscape. And some of them are exceptionally talented. ShiftX has a bunch of experience designing customs. Anatar can argue with you about semantics about rules all day long. It's exhausting. We love them. But we got to this point where there was enough passion that we kept going over these concepts over and over again, and kind of, beating them into something that we thought was quality enough to like do group releases similar to something like C3V or what SOV does, or C3G, all the, you know, the letter groups. So, yeah, sorry if I overexpanded there.
No,
You did that perfectly. Well done.
Yeah. When you got started and you were bringing everybody together, like when was that specifically? After was that after the campaign, just after campaign ended, or did it take a few months to bring everything together, or what was that process like?
Oh, I'll grab that one.
Okay.
Yeah, please do, because I was the last person there.
Yeah. So that came from a lot of collective groaning and crying and depression immediately after AoA failed. I mean, if you go into the regular OHS server, you still see that people every once in a while bring it up, and we get all sad about it and everything. That's how it started.
Yep.
In about February, late January timeframe, somewhere around there. Root pulled us into a private chat, about 7 people, and we started talking about what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. So that's where we started.
Okay.
That was actually like late January, I think.
Was it?
So we were actually kind of at this for a while before too much noise was made. I just know y'all were like talking on Heroscapers, and I was like, "This is a really cool idea. Let me know if y'all ever need help." And then I got sucked into the group chat, and that's where we're at now. So
that's how it happens. If you say you want to help, I snipe talent. So
yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it would have taken a little bit of work, a little bit of time, although it hasn't been. It's only been what, like 6-7 months, right? Since it became less
4.
painful.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, we've been messing around with this for 4 months now, so not too long.
Yep, end of January.
And let's explain a little bit. Okay, so here, let me bring up the website again. So the quest, and yeah, here's the names. I'm just gonna give you a shout out to all you guys on this. It's 7-person team, right?
Yep. With an asterisk, yeah.
Okay. So we got Lex, we got Anatar, we got Caesar, we got Dandelions, we got Diora, we got Hero Pile of Gifts. I love that. Okay, you got some lore masters on the team. That's nice, and of course the Chad Shift Rex. And that might become a thing, Chad. I don't know. I have Chad jokes. Well, but just that one, but I say it all the time.
Hey, let's roll with it. It's good.
All right, awesome. And now, when it comes to deciding on, and let's just get to, let's see here. Now, playtesting. Let's just start getting into the meat of the thing, the miniatures, what you plan to release. And actually, I'm going to go back to the beginning here, because you have a nice photo on like the countdown. You got the countdown clock here: 9 days, 15 hours, 7 minutes, 33 seconds as of when we're recording tonight. And and for those of you who are watching the stream, because I noticed that it is getting kind of in the red, so things are kind of jumpy. So yeah, okay, we might lose this. Actually, we've lost the stream. We're losing it.
Really, it's still showing here.
Okay. No, I'm seeing the numbers. It's like it's
Maybe
jumping
give it 45
everywhere.
seconds.
It's jumping everywhere. Now it's strong. Now it's weak. I mean, we'll keep on going, and I mean, it is recording. So even if the stream stops, I can still like do something with the recording later.
Sure.
Nice.
So yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry for the interruption for those of you who are listening or watching, but technical issues are always fun, and I'm like keeping an eye on several dozen things at once. But anyway, Revna's Wrath, Wave 1. A nice little photo and miniatures here. And the cool thing is you invite the community to play test, which is a cool thing. You want to talk about that just for a moment?
Yeah, 100%. So, like I said, do a lot of work over in C3G, and they are very big on the community playtesting. C3V is as well, to a lesser extent, but whenever we make something, we put it out really early. So once we decide that we want to make a unit, it goes through a process where we refine the idea, where we refine where it's going to be at in lore, start working on the bio, locate the sculpt. But as soon as we have a cohesive thing that we have bounced up and down and played a few games with, we want to put it out, because we think that adding Heroscape figures, especially in this new Age of Annihilation era, is super, super exciting. We want a chance for people to put it on their tables immediately, to mess with it, and to be a part of the process that refines it. That's how it's done over in Superscape. Especially if you lead design a unit with them, your stuff gets put out immediately, you workshop it with everybody, and then we move immediately to playtesting and get everybody to get their hands on it, contribute some ideas, and see where it goes from there.
Sure, it's a great way to get the community involved, get them excited about what they could possibly be playing in the future, for sure. Here, and let me get...
I will say there's just a little asterisk in it. Probably 90% of what we do goes through public playtesting. There are a couple surprises, but
for sure,
for the most part, that's definitely correct. If I can add to that, the other thing I think that people may be, it's kind of like a learning curve for people who are mostly familiar with classic customs. Because we put things out so early, we had some people kind of analyze them as though they were already finished products. So we actually got some feedback from someone who was very negative about the concept, which is fine. You know, not everything's for everyone. It was like, you know, these aren't like C3V customs. And it's like, well, yeah, they just entered playtesting. But they're not, you know, it's a different approach. So you know, that's not to say one way is better than the other, but I think part of the reason we went this way is because 3D printing is different than being able to go to Cool Stuff Inc. or whatever and order a D&D miniature. It has its pros and cons. Like, you have to print it, you got to paint it, you got to, or maybe you have to pay somebody else to print it and paint it, right? There's a little bit of prep time involved. So I know that was part of it. And I guess another part of this, both that Shiftrex and I have been fairly involved in C3G, and some of that just came over because we were used to their organizational system. And we found that opening up public playtesting helped people really get involved. There were people who playtest and it's like, you know what, I actually really like this. Maybe you could play to this strength. Maybe you could, you know, kind of work on this thing that we thought wasn't the most balanced part of the unit, which, you know, a lot of that time that feedback was coming after we were already like, maybe that's a concern, but it's still good to get the community involved there. And that's not even new to us in C3G. I mean, VC, I don't think has run public playtesting in a little while, unless I'm wrong, but I know that they do periodically. So I think the one really nice thing about the Heroscape community is everybody recognizes the strengths of it being the community that it is, right? Coming together and creating all these things. I mean, yeah.
No, absolutely. And I mean, with the community, what the community had to play test is what you guys are launching when it comes to Wave 1 Revna's Wrath. And here, let me just go to the cards now. And now I haven't had a lot of time to fully study these, but some of these I really like. And so now these are initially, most of them or all of them are cards that were like announced for AoA, but were never given stats for. Is that correct?
Only a couple of them.
Most of them. I think the ones that weren't in AoA, just going through the lists, are Asley. She's one of the familiars, the little like rabbit with the antelope ears, or antlers if you're looking.
Yeah, I see it.
Ayla Pucelle. I could be pronouncing that wrong. I'm not French, if you couldn't tell. They is not my character. I could be pronouncing that wrong. She is not part of AoA. Volgren, which is kind of a theory craft, which is like, you know, how could you change up the dwarves playstyle without busting them in half? He's not AoA. To Call a Titan was actually created by Chad. Okay. That's something we workshopped through. Nice. And I think the last two that were not AoA, Nilcia was meant to kind of patch holes with the Werewolf Lord and associated units. So I believe she's from Faerun. Is that wrong, Chad?
Faerun. Yep, you're right.
Yep. Okay.
Lycanthrope.
Yep. And Three Eyes was just like, you know, how do we explore more of the wow, the name's totally escaping me. The pirates, the Dawn Raiders. Sorry, right. I don't know why it took me a second to catch that name again.
It's been a while. I know it's been a while. I had to think about some of the factions. I'm like, oh god, what's the name?
Yeah, I know.
I had all the SpongeBob's running around. What's his name?
No, that one, it's just like that model screamed Dawn Raiders to us. So we
Mhm.
played around with the idea, and we wanted to kind of demonstrate what else we were looking to do with the project moving forward in the units we were creating. Everything else there is an AoA concept in the sense that we knew that the model was going to be in AoA, but we weren't exactly sure what it did. I believe one of them, Chad might be able to correct me on this. We basically accidentally had the stat card revealed, and they never confirmed it as a finalized unit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that may be Hellshot.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I think
Yeah.
it was Halishad. I think his
Right.
his abilities was placed on top of the one with the drill. I think it was the drill.
The Vord Burrow Breaker. Yep.
Yeah, Bear Breaker. Yeah.
Yep.
And nothing gets past Anatar, so I guess they're the one who caught that, and we have that to work with now. So.
Yep. Yeah, but the other ones, ones that we didn't have powers or exact stats spoiled for, we knew what factions that they were going to be in, we knew what generals they belonged to, and we just worked from bios or lore and flavor that were spoiled, and we made sure to implement word by word everything that this unit is conceptually supposed to do, and translate it as good as we could to mechanics. Heroscape's a game, not a simulator.
Mm-hmm.
And not to get too much into the nitty gritty of this, I know one of the things we kind of looked at when we looked at these newer units is basically future proofing them. Like, how can we design things that are both fun with the existing Heroscape lexicon and are also neat with something that we know about that maybe other people don't know about yet that we're doing? Because I think we're planned 5 or 6 actual waves out right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, wave
Wow.
6.
Yes.
That's great. I mean, just as many miniatures as in wave 1.
They vary. We can go a little bit into that later if you want. We actually,
That's
I
fine.
know I mentioned this to you before.
We can save that
we
for the end. Yeah.
Yeah, we made a little list of spoilers that aren't spoilers, like they're vague descriptions of things that we're going to do that people can guess about if they want. So
All right. Keep the conversation going. Yeah, that's fine. Now, here, let me bring this up again. Now, the decision to come up with this first wave, how long of a process was that?
Oh, geez. First wave to finalize? That
Mhm.
probably took about 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were still working on that. Yeah,
Good.
I'd say about 3 months.
Good portion of the time then to figure out what exactly you want to release first.
that we knew. I think within the first 2, we knew that by March what
Okay.
the layout of wave 1 and wave 2 were like. The actual work wasn't done, but we knew what was going where. I think that's what he might mean.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. And then when it comes to figuring out, okay, what miniatures do we use, and I see you got STL files there, which is incredible for people because more people have 3D printers now, and they're more accessible, and fairly easier to use. I mean, it still takes, a little bit of know-how to use a 3D printer, but you have that option available. But I mean, so how was that process between okay, let's use miniatures that are already out there, or just create our own customs, or create our own 3D printed customs? Describe that process, because I'm sure that took a little bit of time to think about and go through. I mean, you're still going through it. People are still offering their ideas on Discord through that, aren't they?
So, Chad, would you be okay if I took this one?
Yes.
Okay. So this is part of the art team preview, I guess. So that's why I wanted to tackle this one. So starting out, it was a lot more complicated than where we're going to end up, because we really wanted to strike a balance between capturing the feeling of what we knew about these models that were going to be in the AoA box set, without choosing things that were player unfriendly. So there were STLs we looked at and were like, okay, that might be great, except it's in 20 pieces and it's a nightmare to put together. Or it's a $20 STL, and we wanted to think about how much these digital files cost over a period of time. We wanted to think about the fact that we know that people are going to go to Trexie 3D. We know that people are going to go to White Knight. They're going to go to community printers. So we don't want to make it difficult on those printers. We've actually had conversations with Trexie already, because he thinks that people are going to be probably coming to him to get these models if they don't have printers. So we're trying to do what we can to coordinate that there. some of it was tricky because like they're weird character concepts. Some of AoA got weird. I think that's part of the charm. There's a ball of bugs. You cannot just go find an STL for a ball of bugs.
Exactly.
That is a
I
really
want the
difficult
bugs.
ask.
I want the bugs.
I wish we had a better solution for it. I don't think we would do that again if we didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So part of it was just like, okay, well, how do we make this work with the concept we have? And some of it was like, yeah, maybe it would be better to go more with the bio here than it would be to the literal picture. Like Awasha is an example where I don't think it's like perfect for the miniature, but is pretty good for the bio. So we really prioritized capturing the feeling of what was being described and the mechanics more than we did the miniature that the department at Hasbro thought would sell best. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that we felt a little freer there. But yeah, I know going forward with things like Day and Volgren and Three Eyes and the Call of Titan, I think a lot of those things were kind of top down. It was, okay, we have this really cool concept, or we have this really cool miniature. How do we justify it from there? Like Volgren Sure Shot came up because I saw a picture of a squat. They don't call them that now anymore, the dwarves from 40K. And I was like, why are there no future dwarves in Heroscape? And I was theory crafting from there. And I don't know how Chad came up with the Call of Titan, but I know that he saw a cool model and we went from there.
Yep.
No, I saw Rogue Idealist painting one of those the other day. That was really nice to see. And
that was so crazy because he posted that link and he's like, come watch us paint it. And I missed it and I checked it out. I was like, wow, that's wicked cool.
Yeah.
And the day after, someone in my playgroup messaged me. He's like, yo, look what my friend painted for my birthday. And he sent me a picture of the beetle. And I was like, man, that's crazy. Now I get to see it on the table. That's awesome. Like, what a small world.
And here, I'm going to just address, because we got a couple of comments in the chat. I just want to go through these just in case we miss them and just in case the internet cuts out, because it just might. It's bouncing everywhere. So we're really riding through an asteroid field, given the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back term.
It's so bumpy, right?
Yeah. I don't know about the odds of this, but we'll get through it. Okay, DieSpare1. Thank you, DieSpare1, for coming on board here tonight. Says, I guess I missed who is who. I only recognize one face. Well, as long as you recognize somebody, but we did introduce ourselves at the beginning. DieSpare1 also says, I hear you. I thought it was me. Yeah, it might be meaning about the internet. Yes, the internet, it's going in and out. So if you're losing, despair. Thank you. Okay, I like that actually a lot better. I like that name. But yes, the internet is coming in and out. So if you lose us, there's a good reason. I'm having a huge technical difficulties tonight, but I am recording this, so whether or not the internet jumps out or not, it will be recorded, and then I can review what's been streamed to the platforms, and I'll re-upload a good version of the recording on YouTube if I have to later. Let me see here. Rogue Idealist. Oh, Rogue Idealist was there in the chat. NGC represent. Yes. And Despair. Sorry. I might butcher names already. But Despair says, or asks, so is there a bitterness or rivalry between NGC and C3V or SOV or whomever? Or will all those people come together? I'll let you guys to answer.
Okay, I guess that one's mine.
If you don't want it, let me know. But
No, that's fine. So, no, not at all. You really have to look at what makes us different. VC, C3V and SOV together, just VC, they focus on a very particular tone of Heroscape, which is the original box that you bought at Walmart or Toys R Us back in the day. That is only using those original generals plus Velcro, and they want to use pre-painted miniatures, and they want to create the feel of that original Heroscape as much as possible in a 1-to-1 ratio. That is fantastic. NGC is not interested in doing that at all. We're interested in picking up a space that VC has zero interest in, which is using unpainted miniatures, which is leveraging 3D printing. which is releasing things like war journals to go along with our releases that fill you in on how the actual story is going along with stuff beyond just bios. It's making destructible objects. It's releasing scenario maps for play, like are in the back of your Rise of the Valkyrie instruction book. So bitterness, no, not at all. We're doing two completely different things. As far as coming together, I'm not sure what that's referencing. The next question that Despair has there. We are never going to be the same organization. No. We are doing separate stuff. NGC is going to make sure that our stuff doesn't break VC stuff or step on their toes at all as much as possible. But we're going to be doing some wildly different stuff with our new generals, with the new era, with brushing up on old factions like the Wolves and things like that. Lots of different stuff. Heroscape is a huge game. There's tons of room in the community for people to pick up ideas and stuff that they want to do or see that haven't been touched yet at all. So that's my answer for that.
All right, and thank you, Despair. I'll try to remember that that name in the future. Thank you for commenting. I think it was the first time Despair's actually commented on the stream. Thank you so much for the comment and the support via comments. And now, let's any other questions that you guys have first, Joe, Jason, Jeremy, about this process?
Ask
go
a
ahead,
question
Jason.
about some of the STL things. And like the other customs, one of the problems they have is they choose old, pre-painted miniatures that are often out of production, and those become very hard to find and very expensive. I've looked into some of those, and comparing like some of the MechWarrior Dark Age miniatures they used, a similar one that's painted differently is worth like half the value of the official custom version or whatnot. Now with STL files, in theory, they should be more readily available, but even then, these designers can pull their files off the internet, and technically, you legally can't distribute them independently without licensed agreements. Do you have any plans in place to make sure that 10 years from now, that these STL files are still going to be around for people to print off, and if they come back to your waves you're releasing?
So no, but yes, I would say. First off, it's not universally true that we don't have distribution rights for these STLs. It's true for a lot of them, but there are some that we actually. I'm a merchant for at least a couple of the STLs that we are using.
Okay.
And that's a lifetime license. So
that's good to know.
Yeah. That was a cool thing that we looked into. I know that that's independent of NGC, but I know that was something that we talked about. I know that's something Chad has looked into. I know that file availability has been a part of the concern. And this is not me endorsing anything. I just know how people are. Once someone has that file on their hard drive, if no one can get a hold of it, they're just coincidentally going to have 5 more of them that they're going to put on the prize table. And I'm not saying that should happen. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that we knew that things like that would happen. Like right now, it's not technically legal to do metal recast of confrontation miniatures, but people are doing it.
No one cares, right? Yeah.
Right. It's not technically legal to distribute the STLs of miniatures for D&D and Pathfinder. People are doing it, and for the most part, the creators either were too small to know about, right? The community, not us as NGC, but the Heroscape community, or there's just not enough reason to care. And I would say that if we get to a point where NGC becomes big, but Station Forge pulls down the Three Eyes model or something, we burn that bridge when we come to it. It's a really resourceful community. You see people like, what's the word I'm looking for when you just like assemble files together? Like it's like a chop shop job, but kit bash. People kit bash crazy stuff. Like there was a guy who did the one Olar Kyrie, and he did it with like a Boba Fett model, right? That was the Heroscape community is so resourceful that I'm sure we'll figure out some kind of alternative. Do I think it could happen? Yeah, I think it's less likely to happen than it would with miniatures that just over time go out of print. And I think the other issue that at least I'm keenly aware of, and I'm not sure how shared this is across NGC, is look at the landscape for miniatures. Pre-painted miniatures are not as big as they were 10 years ago. They're certainly not as big as they were 15 years ago. And that's not because they're not popular. It's because the world has changed. They're not as cheap to produce. It's not cost effective. I don't think it's impossible that 10 years from now, we don't have affordable D&D or Pathfinder minis, right? Like, eventually these will dry up, for better or worse. That's just what's going to happen. And so part of the hope was like, I was really hoping that AoA, when I thought it could be a thing, would crack open the community, right? Would help people like kind of embrace, okay, I just need to accept that I'm going to play with unpainted models, or I'm going to learn to do, speed paint jobs. But sorry, I got off topic here. Miniature availability was a concern for us, but I think that this is a step in the right direction. I think that it's still possible that things become unavailable, and it sucks, but I think it's less likely than it is with like the RAM Army box.
Absolutely. To add on to that, it's very rare that STLs get pulled like that. The likelihood of a pre-printed miniature supply running out versus an STL running out, especially when everybody at NGC is going to buy that STL, it's a rather unlikely event that it's just going to disappear completely.
I think the one thing we are very cognizant of on that front is avoiding things that are very likely to get copyright striked.
Right. And so
you don't have to be in
legal issues when it comes to like Hasbro. That was the coast of that. No, they're a different problem. Avalon Hill.
I wouldn't expect this to do Space Marines. Right, like those kind of things get copyright striked.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I was always thinking about, because everything you guys just talked about is I 100% agree and I love, but the one thing that I always thought that would be awesome, because there's so many different artists out there making creative new 3D prints, stuff like that. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Making 3D prints, is it possible to even maybe in the future crowdfund something where we can pay for an artist to say, hey, we're looking for steampunk animal sitting in a giant balloon, or we need them with wing packs, steampunk design, and it's a brand new original thing. It isn't Vorid Glide Strikers, but it has that essence to it, and we own that figure. We, as a community, we own that, that we can use forever. Is that ever something that possible? Or even, like I said, if it wasn't, you guys think something you thought about is there's that is an idea.
Joe Crazy still wants to save the Vorid, by the way.
Not even just the Vorid. Like, look, trust me. Like, Vorid is not my favorite. I just want to make that clear. That is not my favorite. But I just have those up on the side here, and that's an easy way to describe. Like Alexandros was saying, is like it's AoA was so unique because it had such wild ideas. Like the Fistful of Bugs. Like, it's so awesome. And so, but you could still technically try to describe them in a manner that isn't copy this, just make this. I just want you to make this. And you can still have that creative freedom outside of Avalon and Hasbro and their designers and artists, even though I feel like terrible because the only people that are losing out on, for example, like whoever created the Vorid Glide Strikers, their card isn't actually out there.
Sure.
But I feel bad for the artists that design the models, because those are not going to be played or seen. I feel bad for those people, but outside of that, like, we could technically go find an artist, describe something like that, and get something completely original that has that same essence.
Sorry. I know we've thrown the idea around, and it has gone so far, at least for me, looking around, as having discussions with various STL artists, Two things come to mind. The first is I don't think it's impossible that we get to the point where the community can justify that. But we're still pretty small. We have like 80 people or so following us on Discord, which is great. We just kind of want to see how things grow once there are actual units to look at, once things have been released, once we're hosting events, which we're looking to host tournaments, online tournaments, etc. I know that's something that we're interested in doing. My gut feeling, and this is not me speaking as NGC as a whole, but as someone from NGC who has mild concerns about it, is that we probably wouldn't be commissioning an STL for anything that Age of Annihilation included.
Right.
That seems pretty iffy. That's not to say that we would never do Secret of Nim style rodents with steampunk gear, but I would not expect it to be a general in a hot air balloon, right?
Right. No,
Yeah,
but even
just,
so, you're absolutely right. Like even like something from the Vlorak, or what's the ones that I really can't think of the. What are the other Revna units that that are not the Flanix? Oh, I can't.
the bugs.
No, not
No,
the bugs.
the death
Oh, not
robot
the
things.
The Icenic.
The Necro.
The ICC. Oh,
Original.
Icenic.
the Ironclad Collective.
Ironclad.
I got
Yes.
it. There it is. You know, like something like that as well. Like it's still, you know, we have those cards, but like, how do we expand those armies, and how do we go outside of that too? Which I'm sure is down the line somewhere. But even so, I could right, like if you want to expand on the bugs or the ICC or the Vlorak or all that, you know, like create like, oh, I will need a tree thing that walks around and has spikes on it, you know, as an expansion for the, you know, Bramblebroth brothers or whatever that faction. But sure, that makes perfect sense. Obviously, you're not gonna do, you know, I need a fistful of bugs, you know, card, but to expand on that, yeah.
This isn't me promising anything. Chad can probably speak to this. We did some preliminary work exploring Isonex stuff, right? Didn't we find some models that worked for that?
Lots.
Yeah, that's not me promising anything, but I know that that's probably not something that we would have an issue finding models for.
Yeah. Like
Oh well, yeah, like just like
Yeah.
robot stuff, like there's probably thousands of stuff on there. Because I love Etsy, so I travel and see what kind of cool stuff is on there. There's like, yeah, definitely.
There's so much.
The one I think we actually struggled with most with like, okay, how would we find STLs that expand a thing in Heroscape already? Actually, was the Morrow.
Yeah.
That was one that was
Oh,
surprisingly
yeah.
tricky for us.
I could see that.
We've had a couple of things to explore, but I know that that's always something. You know, if you're listening and you're like, I know what I'd use, you know, feel free to drop us.
Yeah, feel free. They're open. They're ready. I mean, you guys. I look at your Discord every once in a while, and it's really cool to see the amount of interaction that people have with you guys. You know, offering their suggestions or whatever, and all the feedback. So, yeah, that's a lovely thing. And anything else from you guys? Because I do have a question. I have a thought. And this is one thing that I was noticing earlier, was the fact that I think you guys are focusing a little bit on the lore side of things, on the story, like behind some of these miniatures you're creating, which that takes a little bit more effort, you know, to come up with a story that, you know, tends to fall in line with Valhalla and the characters already in there. I don't know if Jeremy wants to, like, I don't know if Jeremy studied a little bit on this or wants to speak on this too. But describe a little bit of that. What do you guys have in store? Because for us story-minded people, this is going to be an interesting thing. So explain that a little bit.
Chad, am I good for this one? You want to take this one? I feel like I keep taking them all.
Okay, my turn.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so story-wise, what you guys should expect is storytelling specifically in the Age of Annihilation. A lot of it's going to revolve around introducing and talking about the motivations of the generals and where the current war is. Because, I mean, looking back at Heroscape, every time you got a wave was theoretically something happening in the war. You have, I call them war journals, events that were happening that brought these figures to the battlefield. That is exactly what we want to do. We're not just stopping short at bios. That's kind of how we're picking what units get released. And oh boy, what am I allowed to say? Scroll back up to this thing.
I mean, if you want me to get in trouble, let me know.
No, it's fine. Like we're gonna be introducing 2 new planets because as part of what we're doing,
I'm super excited.
Yeah, we're not using VC planets. We didn't create those. Those are part of the VC canon. Our canon is AoA plus classic, so we're building on top of that. Is there any other like super specific question that I can maybe answer for you?
Well, let's say when it comes to the lore, how far, like you explained a little bit about what you're going to do with it, how far are you going to dive into that? Is there going to be opportunity for like narrative storytelling? Or are you just going to be talking about like descriptions of characters that a person will be using and just a little bit of background? Or is there going to be like, would you make journals? You know, is it something that's going to be that extensive?
So you're talking about Thorman's journals, right?
In essence, yeah.
Yes, expect that from us.
Awesome.
I would expect some with Wave 1 in 9 days.
Yeah, the ones for Wave 1 are going to come a little bit after release as far as that, but yes, expect Thorman's journal style storytelling for what's going on.
Very nice.
So if I can actually expand a little bit on this is something I'm really excited about.
For sure.
I am not the lore lead, but I've been pretty involved. God knows I did not need another thing to volunteer to be in charge of. That was going to be a problem if I had my hand in every pot. We're really, really excited about this. We have probably about 1.5 years worth of lore that we have planned out. We're like, okay, we definitely want to do this and we want to see where we want to go. And then we know where we'd go for another 3 or so years if we really enjoy doing this and the community's into it. I know that one of the things that I think I've kind of been pushing us to model after is like the old Magic story structure where they would, and I don't mean what they've done with that game because it's a mess. I just mean that like the way that they would release, these short stories and you could kind of tell how they all went together and you'd get this kind of example of an overarching narrative. So it was more than just like, okay, we have this Thorman's POV war journal and a couple lore blurbs. It was okay, how can we use these short stories to like string them together and draw a bigger picture of Valhalla? And more so, I think a lot of this is like the basic skeleton of what we're doing was very top down, and that we decided kind of what we wanted to do with this story. And then each wave kind of moving forward basically has a theme to it. So we'd start with like, okay, the main units are this, and then as we come up with cool ideas or things that expand on AoA factions or such, we'll throw them in where we can. We'll pepper them in. We'll make sure they're not excluded. But like I said, I know up through the 6 waves we had planned, each of them has kind of a theme we think people are really going to like. And I don't want to overshare what those are. They're a little less specific in the first 2 because people really expected those AoA things. But like I think if I get in trouble, I get in trouble. But I think I was cleared on this. So I know like Wave 3 is a terrain pack. Like we really wanted to highlight this new planet.
Right.
So we went out of our way to like, okay, how do we make new destructible objects? How do we get like a fairly competitively balanced map using this so it feels like other things that we already have? How do we go out of our way to make certain terrain elements that currently aren't well loved by the community feel like they fit in with this? Like there's little themes for each wave. So I don't know. We very much like plotted that out for a while. We're really excited about that.
Yeah, and it kind of mentions in your website, and that's another question too. Is you're just not planning to like design miniatures and stat cards. There are other things that you are designing and developing. That is correct, right?
Yeah. So Wave 1 on release day, we'll have finished cards for the entirety of Wave 1. We'll have scenarios. I know that down the road, probably around Wave 2-ish, we plan to have a one-stop shop rulebook that takes everything that we knew was going to be in the Age of Annihilation rulebook and formats it like the latest actual Heroscape rulebooks we got back in, 2010 now, right? But we have this like document where somebody is new to Heroscape and they say, I want to get into this. I want to print a couple armies and some terrain. How do I get into this? They can just pull up this document and they can download STLs for NGC. A focus, I think for me, and I think other people are starting to like get into is we really wanted this to feel overall like we were offering an equivalent of one-page rules almost for Heroscape, right? Like, you know how people get into one-page rules and they just go download a book and they go download a bunch of SDLs and they're ready to play. That was what we were really hoping, is that we could do something similar for Heroscape.
Right, and it says right at the beginning, when you hit about NGC, and it says at the very beginning on our quest, and it says to provide fans with awesome, high-quality customs, scenarios, and terrain. So it's not just the customs; it's also scenarios and terrain. That is very nice, very nice.
And that's just because I still want to see new Heroscape players, like new Heroscape players who don't have to go on eBay and spend $200. Like, I want people to be able to fire up their printer and be like, okay, I want to try a new minis game. This looks fun.
For sure.
And I think that's shared. I think that's a kind of a group philosophy.
And I think
No,
3D
absolutely,
printing
yeah.
itself is a future.
It's better to, because like no matter between the VCs and now NGC, you know, because I try to talk to as many people and try to get as much knowledge and trying to figure out, like, you know, how many people are there out there that are just like classic and they're just focused on classic and that is it. That's their game. They'll never reach out and expand or do anything else, and that's fine to an extent. But for the future of the game, we need to find a way to expand, and I think your quest is a great way to expand and looking to the future for this game.
Absolutely. Any other question? I do have another question, but it's something a little bit different. Any other question from you, Joe, Jason, Jeremy?
I was just really, you know what? This is how much issue shows that I don't read things properly. I was not expecting actually terrain. I was like, oh, they're just going to do figures.
It said it right there on the website.
This.
When I was reading the website today, I'm just like,
no, I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't read.
We haven't highlighted.
Nobody does.
I caught it when I read it today. I'm just like, wait a second, that says terrain.
But I don't think we've talked about it anywhere else. So good eye. But I'm not going to blame anybody who didn't know this.
Right, for sure. But yes, they do have terrain, which that is no other custom developer community has done that type of thing, right? I think it's a first for you guys, right?
I know
High Ground is an exception, but
well, C3G has definitely done it.
Oh, they've done it. Okay.
So the two guys stuff.
Okay.
I know VC played with the idea. I think it kind of fizzled behind doors. I'm not privy to all that. I can't clarify too much other than I've heard some things from various VC members. I know the ogre with the battering ram, I think, was supposed to play into that to some extent, and they kind of changed direction for that.
Okay.
I think part of that is just like there's a fear that people would be unwilling to adopt it, and I think there are some people who won't be, and whatever.
It's a task. It is a task for that.
Yeah.
It's something else on the board that is unique. Yet it's not a miniature. It's a part of the field, and there's I think there's a different level of creating that stuff as opposed to the miniatures as well. So yeah.
And I think our thought process was anybody who would be unwilling to explore new terrain is also probably unwilling to explore 3D printing and painting their own miniatures. So you pretty much already called out most of that group. So, called like CULL.
Okay. Anything else from you? Okay. Just one thing. Because I think I heard something. I just want to get confirmation. Is like Wave 1, is this going to be involved in tournaments this year sometime? Do you guys know of any tournaments that will accept these miniatures or these cards into their tournament games?
So that is actually an interesting thing. TOs can really do anything that they want. Up to this point, there's not really been more than one game in town for them to look at, though. I mean, TOs have random maps all the time. I've seen down in Utah and in Colorado them using 3D printed or custom terrain on their maps already. And I know that they do over on the East Coast as well. We're talking to a couple of people, and yes, we would highly encourage, if you want to put them on the tournament table and see how it goes. And if you're going to do that, we're also willing to send you some prize support. That's something that we had talked about. Yes.
Yeah,
So
if your tournament
that's
is
something we want. Yes.
if you're a tournament organizer who is willing to allow NGC units in your events, let us know. We would be happy to send you some prize support. We'd love to hear how these things are doing in a competitive setting. We worked pretty hard to make sure that there wasn't anything egregious, but I guess that would be the way to find out is once there's prizes on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not too privy to the specifics. I'm not part of this team. Maybe Chad knows a little bit more than I do. I know that we do plan to have an online event with some real prizing between Wave 1 and Wave 2. So that should be over the summer.
Absolutely. Yes.
Very nice.
You are correct, because we have online Heroscape assets ready for everything in Wave 1, as well as tabletop simulator stuff as well. Just another thing we're offering.
Interesting.
Cool. Let me address. I got Rogue Idealist commenting here. I mean, there's been some goofy comments coming on, which I think hilarious. If you're not watching live, sometimes the comments section gets really fun. But Rogue Idealist says here, painting and printing is definitely the future of this game. It's reached to a point of affordability, but for many, it is still not a convenience, or possibly due to space, location, toxicity, etc. Yeah, and I think I share the same belief that 3D printing, I mean, literally just in the baby stages of 3D printing. I mean, things I think are going to get a lot more accessible, a lot more proficient, and I think it's going to change the landscape of how things are done. It is changing before our eyes, so it's definitely something to keep an eye out. And very good point, Rogue Idealist. Thank you. When it comes to that. Anything else?
I want to tag on to that.
Yeah, go ahead, Chad.
Especially for space and toxicity. So, yes and no on that front. FDM printers, your Ender models and things like that, those do not have any toxic output, and the footprint you need for them is the same as a cutting board.
I got an Ender 3 right by my shoulder.
Exactly. Yep. There it is. Yeah, I've got one behind me too.
Mm-hmm.
And my Elegoo stuff is actually packed up right now, but that's even smaller, and that comes in a contained unit. You can get an air filter for that, and you can use plant-based resin so that there is no toxic output for your resin prints. There's a ton of problem solving out there. 3D printing has been going for a while now, and it's only getting better. Like, this is the time to jump onto it and start learning more about it, because there's solutions for these problems. Because everything that was just noted there is something that people have been working on trying to fix, because this is the next biggest thing. Printers for paper used to be a big thing. Now it's this. This will be commonplace someday.
Yeah, like I actually have my throws in 8K in a hydroponic system. Like literally like the caged like fabric. Can't even explain this right. But either one of two things is true for almost every issue you're going to find with 3D printing. Either somebody has created a new fix for it, or somebody has basically Frankenstein things that already exist and do a workable fix for it. And you'll see so many people with different living situations like, oh, I don't have this much space, or I can't get my cats to stop eating poisonous chemicals, so how do I keep this from them? Or, there's so many. If you have an issue, somebody has probably already had it and then figured out how to solve it and have it 3D printed. But, it is a little bit of work, and not everybody wants to take that on. So that's why we're lucky to have Trexie and White Knight and people like that who are willing to print for the community. And there's one I'm missing. There's another guy who's Jesse Pollard, I think. Something like that.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
And let me see. Is there another comment here from Captain Billy Batts? Thank you for your comment, Captain Billy Batts.
Shazam.
I asked the question, I may have missed a part where you mentioned it, but will your project include digital mock-up suggestions for how to paint miniatures? And/or will it include specific paint color suggestions for each figure? I haven't gotten into painting yet myself. Yes, some of us are beginners, for sure. But yes.
So I will do you one further. Yes, there will be paint guides, but there are also going to be paint videos. If you've seen Rogue Idealist video, we sniped him immediately afterwards. So He is part of our
Reach
team
out.
now.
Ah, he's part of the team. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why it was funny to me when you're like, he's asking questions. I was like, why? He could just ask. He's part of the team.
He's
He could
probably
just
saying
ask
he already
us.
knows the answers. He's just like he wants to get them out there. Probably. He's like,
He's feeding the questions. But
He's
yeah,
just sending messages.
that's Rogue's department. There's going to be videos of him doing an awesome paint job, far better than I can do, and it's going to be really helpful to all of us.
yeah. And Rogue Idealist, one of these days. I mean, I've already like kind of halfway invited you on this. Eventually, he's going to be on the podcast anyway, for probably different things, but it might bleed into this as well, for sure. Go ahead if I interrupted you guys. I'm sorry.
Not me.
No, okay. Despair also says, not pretty minis on an FDM. They look a lot worse, and plant-based resin is more brittle than with ABS-like resin as well. I was just mentioning a person in a studio apartment won't be able to set up all that, but okay. Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah.
you know, we have some fixes for that too. Like if you can't go to someone like White Knight or Trexie, we actually offered and are still going to send miniatures to people who help playtest. We'll have more initiatives like that. We'll probably, as big asterisk on that, be doing things like giving away gift cards for Trexie's store when we do online events. Like that will be part of the prize support. So there will definitely be other opportunities. Don't feel excluded. You know, try to check us out if you play Heroscape online. If you can fit us into your Heroscape schedule, let us know. You know, we want to hear about how you guys are playing these units and how they work out for you and all that.
And Despair is saying, and okay, and you might want to clarify Despair, but it says Jesse is Despair Prince, by the way. So Despair one, that means you are Despair Prince and you're Jesse. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, okay.
Just hit a yes. So I'm connecting the three. I think that's what Despair is trying to say there. But yes, well, glad to have you on, and no, thank you for your input and opinion on things, because this is how we learn. This is how we grow. Yes, I mean those options are out there, but of course, I mean there's give and takes for these things, you know, until they get better. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I know nothing about 3D printing, and it's something that I'm slowly starting to get into. You know, once I get better in a financial situation, I will absolutely be buying one. But like, you know, I feel like it's a world that it will be commonplace for sure. Just some of the different designs I've seen out there, and not even just for miniatures, but just 3D printing in general. People are doing it for cosplay. People are doing it for mechanical purposes. People are making contraptions for their desks to make their lives easier. Like it's incredible. Like 3D printing is so cool, and it's so expansive on what you can, you know, physically and you know, mentally come up with. It's truly endless. So being able to utilize that to expand our community for Heroscape, I feel like it's finally time, and I'm so glad that you guys are using that, because I've always thought and would hope that, you know, at the time before you guys showed up, that, you know, VC would be like, oh, they're gonna have to go into 3D prints because, you know, things are getting more expensive, and it's, you know, please, you know, get into that. Etsy has endless of prints, just, you know, go after it. But that's where you guys come in, and that's awesome. I love that.
And Despair says, yeah. He said, I think it was Lexer Chat said Jesse Pillard. So yeah, apparently, okay, Despair Prince, and I'll try, like sometime in the future, if you're watching this on the live, like the live stream video or the video that I cut of this interview and put it on the Tales of Value YouTube page, I'll try to make sure to get all three of those 3D printing websites down there, so you all can access those. But yeah, Despair Prince.
I feel like we doxed Despair. I feel like we just doxed Despair.
I hope not.
We did it backwards. We were like, yeah, Jesse Pollard. And I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, I guess I have to take the Scooby-Doo mask off.
I didn't want to do any mask unveiling. It's just, you know, that's things happen sometimes. It was no intention. It was no intention. I'm just trying to promote people as best I possibly can. Okay, please don't make me melt down. All right, now, how about before we close this interview, talking about this, because I'm sure we'll have you guys back sometime in the future when you release Waves. All right, thank you, Despair, for being so.
We're gonna hold you to
being a
that.
sport. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, when these waves release, we definitely want to go through the cards. We've done that with the last C3V release, and definitely we want to do it with you guys. But before we close, you said you had a couple surprises tonight, so let's have the goodies. Let's see the goodies.
So we thought we'd actually play a game with you guys where we tried to find vague ways to describe things that are coming up,
Oh boy.
and then see if y'all wanted to take a crack at guessing it, and maybe there's one or two things we can confirm. If that sounds fun to y'all, we'll try it out.
Yeah, that's new to me. That sounds cool. Let's go.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just so he has it. I'm gonna PM Shift Tracks the list again so we can see it. Maybe we can alternate.
Okay.
You sound good.
Yep. You go ahead, kick it off.
All right. So I think we teased this earlier. So we'll have this first one be a freebie. But we've got multiple game elements coming up, which will enhance the usability of an infrequently used terrain set. So if y'all feel like guessing, you're welcome to. And I'm pretty sure you can guess. What was that?
Marvel set? The Marvel
Yeah.
set?
Mm-hmm.
Because like even with tournament scenes, like they're just slowly. There was a huge debate earlier last year, I think,
There was
about
escape
ladders.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ladder.
The
debate.
ladder debate, still hilarious. That's slowly still going into tournament scene, but then even Marvel, just because they don't have a lot of sets,
Right.
they're still slowly never used them, and it's like,
Yeah.
what? That's wild to me.
Our hope kind of with Wave 3 is that 2x Marvel and then one copy of the Wave 3 terrain feels like a real match.
Okay.
We'll see if we get there. I don't know it'll be the best. I don't know if you'll be like a competitive map from that, but we were hoping that you could kind of make something that feels like it fits into Heroscape. And that kind of plays into, I know y'all didn't ask about that, but I know we said we were kind of looking at 2 new worlds, which we feel are pretty interesting gimmicks and kind of tackle things Heroscape hasn't done yet. So we're hoping that Wave 3's terrain pack can kind of, expand on that. Like I said, we already teased that earlier, so I feel like that one's a freebie. So I will go to the actual first one we have then. We have a historical unit where the figure or figures use double bases.
Okay.
Hercules unit.
You've already had the
His-
Templar Knights in the original games. You could be thinking cavalry
The
type.
samurai
Yeah, so it's not
cavalry?
Blinn. It's not the what's here?
Samurai cavalry.
Not quite. Anybody else want to guess?
I know that was teased years ago, but I don't know if anyone actually worked on it.
Civil War cannons.
Civil War cannons.
Oh, that's close.
That's closer.
Oh wow. Okay.
Close.
Joe's not summoning people. Joe's summoning machines. Dude. Like, he's like,
mean,
I don't
look,
I don't need soldiers.
I know interactive.
No.
More interactive terrain would be a lovely thing.
We need physical turrets that people could attach to. Like I need a Morrow Joe to be like, all right, staff over here, give me a cannon. Like
Let me give another hint for the same cue then. The character is not visible at all in the model.
Wow.
We're super excited about this one, but if y'all are done guessing, we'll move on. Let chat tackle.
no, I got.
Vehicles or something. Is it the
fully
bike?
obscured.
Wasn't that?
Is it like
that
an
bike?
Abrams tank?
Was it the bike that everyone was talking about?
That's so close.
Abrams tank could be a lot bigger than double based.
Who
You're so close.
who was talking about
How
the
would you
bike?
get a tank on a double base? I wonder what kind of tank would fit
It's
on
a
a double base.
I mean,
historical figure,
they-
though.
The Ironclad Collective giant thing
That's
is
what
on
I
a
was.
single
That's what I was
base.
thinking. That's what I was
That's
thinking.
pretty
But that's not a
close to
historical
That's
Abrams
figure.
not-
tank scale for a hero
Yeah.
stage.
Joe's
So,
just-
It's like,
No, so this is actually, I think this one is going to be the one that raises the biggest eyebrows. But all I will say is that the M4 Sherman tank is technically only like 10 or 12 feet long.
Oh.
So, just in theory, if that was something we would ever do, it could theoretically fit on a double base.
Despair saying Paul Bunyan. Aye.
All right, Chad, you want the next one?
Okay, moving on. So the next hint is an otherworldly horror.
My goodness, we already seen so many
Cthulhu?
crazy things. Cthulhu.
Something Valkyrie.
Aye.
I will
have
say that you
stuff
probably
already like Cthulhu-like, but
you probably can't guess this, but I will say it is not the kind of Lovecraftian cosmic horror.
Okay.
This is like very much like the kind of horror trope that resonates with people now, but probably wouldn't have 10 years ago. So yeah, I know nobody asked about what the new worlds are, so I feel like that doesn't make any sense, but hopefully that'll excite people. So
I don't know why I'm thinking like.
I just want to say
daylight, but-
like something like not like xenomorph, but like that type of like alien like creature. I was almost gonna say like a Cloverfield monster, but smaller.
It's an
you-
SCP.
Oh, did you say SCP?
Oh, SCP is actually a good
it's
guess. Yeah, I kind of
SCP.
like that.
So Chad, should I go into that? Do we have like 2 minutes to divert here? Are we gonna keep people too long?
Oh, did I hit it? Did I hit it?
Up to you.
Do we have Ryan? Do we have 2 minutes to go into this?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So one of the settings we're exploring is an alternate Earth, where things bump in the night, and things have always bumped in the night. It does explore your Men in Black, your paranormal horror.
Nice.
Your, there are people working tirelessly to make sure that things bump in the night, and then they don't ever show up in broad daylight. So, yeah, I would say the SCP Foundation is definitely a cue for that, and that's what that is talking about here.
Interesting. And
A haunted staircase. There you go. Interesting. Okay.
despair.
Yeah.
Just an entire bookshelf that throws books at you because it's haunted or it's.
Well,
got some
I
kind
think
of
a haunted bookcase would have resonated more than 10 years ago. That's kind of why I was like,
Yeah.
uh,
I'm a
That-
little stumped. But Despair is
Yeah.
asking no internet, and as far as I know, Despair, it's going okay. I noticed there was a little bit of a
I think he was
percentage
saying
jump.
what? That's a modern horror that we experience. No.
What?
Right.
Oh,
no
yeah, I
internet?
think he's going for that. Yeah.
I think that's the joke. Was.
Blast Shark says Heroscape ladders are already hunted. But yeah, no. As far as I know, the internet still surprisingly it's going strong now. So hopefully we can finish till the end here. But there will be because I'm recording this to my computer as well. So eventually I'll get this interview out on the main main channel link. So y'all can watch it just in case something has disappeared or not taken well. Yeah. So anyway, okay, what's next then?
that was Chad's. I guess my next one would be a huge figure that belongs to 5 different species.
Okay,
So there's no real guesses to that one. That's just something that we're really excited about.
that's
We
mind
thought that'd be
blowing.
something where people would read that and like, what?
Yeah, I was thinking of, I don't know what it's called, but I think it's like the dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh that has like the multiple heads. But, I thought but we do have a chimera in VC, so I wasn't gonna guess that.
A chimera actually would have been a really interesting angle to take this. That's very creative. And probably too
grell?
creative for us. That's not the angle we went.
But
But we're really excited about it.
Despair's asking a grell. I don't know what a grell is. I need to guess research.
That's
that,
a
but
Dungeons and Dragons monster.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
No, what's funny is they're all descriptors of the same thing that are accurate. So it's not like a chimera, really. It's
That
I don't know.
in my
That was
head.
actually Anatar's creation, and they did a pretty good job, and we rolled with it. So it fit a theme that we have coming up. We're really excited about. So
Wow. It sounds like you guys have really invested a lot of thought and just basically having fun with it, because if you're not creating new things, you're not having fun. If you're having fun, you're usually creating new things. So yeah, that's
No,
Well, I
absolutely.
think
I like
that's the fun part about finding models or even commissioning models and kind of doing whatever you wanted, because when you're stuck behind the wall of just finding units that you could find that are already painted, there's a ruling limitation that you have. Not to say that's a bad thing, that there is a skill of trying to find that perfect perfect figure to create a brand new unit for.
Right.
Rules have always made the creative space way more interesting. But once you break that wall, and can say, let's go wild with this, because, like you guys said before, AoA, they broke some walls. They tried some new stuff.
Or even the other way around, like to VC's credit, they're in a really hard situation where there's only so many miniatures that are commonly available and also interesting. And when you're that restricted, restriction breeds creativity. So they're doing a lot of great stuff with the assets they have. I mean, I don't mean to downplay that. So there are pros and cons to both methods, which is the being able to pick anything you want off the shelf, or, I have these tools, what do I do with it?
For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Chad,
And anything else?
Chad's turn.
Anything else?
We got a couple more. I think it's Chad's turn, though.
All right.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to skip ahead to one. I'm going to pick a unit which will help you reuse a widely available unique from Classic Heroscape.
So we're talking about any of like the OG Swarm of the Morrow characters, maybe?
Oh, possibility.
Okay. Yeah, I hit it. I thought I might have hit it there.
No,
Okay.
you're close. I wouldn't say you hit it.
Wait, repeat that one more
Steal
time.
my thunder.
She got so excited. So excited.
I'm just like, oh.
Deflated balloon.
My hands on a Sergeant Drake Alexander right now who flies in the air. Okay.
Oh,
Oh.
so close. He really is.
So, I suppose humans, but thinking. But
If you give one of my Airborne Elite characters a way in, like a general toothpick, I would literally hop up on this desk right now and just start jumping for joy. I literally.
What
I
if-
think we need to send him a gift at some point, yeah?
What if we gave you a use for 3 of your Airborne Elite figures,
I literally weep tears of joy.
but not the 4th?
I'm okay with that. There is actually things I plan to do with these characters in the future, and that's all I'm going to say about my plans
There you
for
go.
ToV.
Keeping secrets too.
Uh-oh.
So I guess for my next one, I think we only have 2 more we can really share here that we kind of did already. But for my next one, I feel like we kind of need to provide a framework. So one of the things we're looking to do in solidifying like a one-stop shop rulebook is also writing things out that the community has widely accepted, but has just never defined in the same rules supplement. And that's not changing the rules; it's just putting them all in the same place. So, for example, like most Heroscape players know what heavy wind means, right? Like the glyph of Ranovik. I'm gonna butcher this. The Ranovik.
yeah,
Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Right. There are people who play with that with the scenario rule all the time. Yet to know what it does, you have to go Google it. And I mean, right now you'd have to go Google it and hope that you didn't find an explanation on heroscapers.com. You'd have to find it somewhere else. But like, there's no reason that like you couldn't have weather conditions defined like that. And once we already realized that, we thought, what if we had time-themed map and scenario rules? So that's something we have coming up. Yeah, y'all can probably guess. There's not really too much ambiguity behind what that means, but we're kind of excited about that. Kind of like a map modifier, almost like this map has heavy snow.
Are you talking about
This map has-
a wellspring type map? You're talking about time?
Time. Well, that's interesting. That's a little more cosmic.
Mm.
That's no, we mean more like
You
what
do
time
things that,
things happen.
yeah, like a lot of games have battles take place at dawn or evening, where the first 2 turns of the
gotcha.
game have limited range, or the last 2 turns have limited range, or you go full battle tech and drop a tornado on the battlefield. That'd be awesome.
I think reminds me, they did that
yeah.
killing fog scenario way back in the day.
Right.
Something like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Poison.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
pretty
poisonous,
close.
I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, someone put poison in the water. Like the scenario
Right.
was someone put poison in the water, and every round the poison would rise up. So whoever was left by a certain round was the winner. And it was just like, it was both kill the other person, but try to stay alive at the same time. And it's a whole different game mechanic just playing that and scenario by itself. So yeah, it's older stuff.
And then Chad, do you want this last one? I know that they're kind of your passion.
Oh, that one? Okay, it's a squad with no legs. Not mechanical.
Slugs?
I mean, you
Something
got some
flying.
Well,
flying
you got
creatures.
serpents. You got snakes.
Bats or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not many things have legs, or not have legs, unless they got their
I
legs
think this
chopped
is
off.
something that people kind of acknowledged having been done by in Heroscape, but not as a squad, and probably
Vipers.
isn't.
Wait, no, I'm stupid. There were 2
No,
Viper squads.
no.
Yeah,
Three
yeah,
Viper
yeah.
squads.
No, I was thinking of Slither too, but no, that
Oh,
might be it.
snakes, yeah. Snakes in my head.
And when I say Heroscape is done, I guess I mean more like the customs community and stuff.
Ah,
Oh.
okay.
You know, they don't survive well when they fall off dressers.
Oh, worms. Nice.
And
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah,
Then I was thinking something burrow underground, and
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
That was
The burrowing
a Shiduli
underground
reference.
from the what they call it burrow breakers, right? Burrow breakers.
Yep.
The word.
The burrowing underground, that stat from those cards, that's one of the things that blew my mind when AoA came out, is the fact that you can use underground, you know, that battle skill would have been so fun to play. If you guys find a way to integrate that into some of these, oh yeah, that would be fun.
I gotta protect my OG the Earth Elemental though. It was the first on the ground movement.
actually, the Vorid, that was something I know was going to be one of our hints, but then we kind of like poked at it earlier. We were going to say that we have a unit that expands upon an AoA faction. I think that's actually a Chad design. I don't know what he wants to share about that, but if anything.
Geez. We've got a lot of those, like, just by that descriptor, I can't even remember which one that's supposed to be.
Well, what were they just talking about?
Oh, those? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's going to be fun. Yeah, there is a unit
Nice.
coming up that's going to be 2 individuals in lore, but they take up one double base.
Huh.
Interesting.
Huh.
Well, I just mentioned it because they said Vorid, so now I spoiled it. It's Vorid.
Yeah, they belong to the Void faction. It's gonna be, that one's gonna be kind of cool. It's gonna be kind of a zany, go hard type of unit. It should be a lot of fun.
Very nice.
And they stay together because it's a 2-man machine.
Yep. They're holding something that takes 2 people to operate.
Very nice. I like it. Anything else?
See that?
from these?
Actually, I love this game. I love this game. I wish we could play this game forever.
I think we're going to. If
I
it's
can't
up
wait
to us, I
for
think we're going to.
for
Absolutely.
waves 3 and 4, and we can, or 4 and 5, and we can do it again.
Oh, please invite us back. We'd love to.
Yeah, please. And we, you guys know this, but we have a kit coming in the mail to Joe and Ryan.
Oh, seriously?
Y'all have to let us know once you get it on the table how it is.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
It'd already be shipped, but the bugs are killing me. You have to print so many bugs.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's fine. I mean, like I said, done with ToV like in almost a month, so yeah, I'll have time for that. For sure.
Excellent.
All right. Before
You guys have
we
any other questions for us? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I would say before we finish, there was 1 or 2 more comments here in the chat that I do want to cover. From Captain Billy Bats, says, if the game were to eventually develop a competitive element / tournaments, will it be figure agnostic, or will you need to have printed the specific STLs to participate?
So that is just going to work how Heroscape works now. So tournament organizers are the ones that always decide that. If you go down to Utah or Colorado or any place like that, you just ping whoever's in charge and say, hey, I'm playing this unit. I want to use this figure for it. 9 times out of 10, they're cool with that. It's in their court.
Yeah, and to that end, a resource that we wanted to kind of put together, not only to help the perfectionist, but the TOs, is somebody mentioned earlier will be there'll be paint guides. There will, but there will also be print guides. So if there's something weird going on with the unit where it requires some kind of weird support setting, or we found something that makes printing it just much easier, or we print it at a weird scale, like we printed it 65%, I think one of the units we have is printed instead of 100, we're going to include that in the book. When you go look at the book for that unit, or the page on our website, it will tell you how you can print it to get it like we printed it for our promotional pictures. So ideally, like if TOs want to be like, okay, you can, like, we allow NGC units and they have to be printed as the book instructs, that's a resource that's available for them. That way nobody can say, you know, your ASLI is a little bit smaller than mine. It's like, okay, well, was it printed at 65%? Because if so, it's right. So yeah.
Okay. And Rogue Idealist was saying that that's what first drew me to NGC is some of the awesome outside of the box concepts. Yes. What we're absorbing tonight, yes, that's I'm liking everything I'm hearing. Despair says, when do we get the directions to assemble the bugs? Very direct question.
I think I wish there was a more elegant answer than glue them on top of each other.
Glue them.
That is literally, we picked a model. We very much picked a model that can pile on top of each other like the bugs in the actual
right
previewed model do. I have assembled some of them, not all the way to level 10 like the unit is supposed to be, but once I have the exact number that takes, y'all will know as well.
All right.
So
fair enough. Fair enough.
I wish there was a more elegant solution, and that's definitely something we're keeping an eye on. That was like the one thing that if we had gone to the design table, that's just something that we wouldn't have done. But AoA already did it, and people want to see it. So we're going to try to find the best solution we can.
All right. Well, before we wrap, any other questions, guys, before we finish to these gentlemen here? Think we're all good? I think we got a good idea of what's happening tonight.
And if you guys come up with any questions you didn't think of now, our server is always open.
For sure.
We have a thread on the Heroscapers forum, in theory, and you can always just jump in the general channel of our Discord and ask there. Or tag us on the ToV server, I guess, and we can message you.
Absolutely, because you guys are on there as well. And anything else you guys wanted to say but before we end this segment?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew I wanted you guys on pretty much within an hour of seeing the first Facebook notification. I'm just like, yeah, we need to have you guys on. But no, it's glad to have you guys on. Definitely will have you back in the future when you start releasing Wave 1 as well as more waves. And I'll finish like I began by saying, like, this is how the community continues. You know, it doesn't matter if a company fails. We don't have to depend on. It would be great if they were in. Not what I'm saying. If Hasbro is looking at this, if the guys at Avalon Hill are watching this, just keep in mind we're not stopping. You know, you. One of the last messages that was said after AoA failed, keep on playing. And that's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what these guys are doing. And I'll just take a call out right now to Hasbro, to Avalon Hill. How about you guys come join us? Okay. All right. And no, thank you. This has been looking at NGC customs with Chad and Lex. And thank you guys for being on. Definitely will want to know more in the future. And if you want to find out about NGC, of course, link in description below to check out the website and all the social media involved there. So that is that, and we are about to wrap up with this live stream. I do, before we get to closing comments, I do just want to hit one comment from the last podcast. Let me just open this up real quick. And it was about ScapeCon 3. As G Busy, it says, my two favorite podcasts coming together. I didn't think I could get any more excited for ScapeCon, but man, seeing the amount of work that has been put into this by people that just love Heroscape is awesome. Yeah, and it was a good interview there with Mike and Ken. Had a great time a few weeks ago discussing ScapeCon and everything involved there. All right, now let us unceremoniously hop into finishing the live stream. So usually, for those who don't know, usually I point at somebody and they just say, give their final thoughts on the stream, promo, like whoever they are, you know, wherever they go to, wherever they people can find them. and then I'm usually the last to close. So how about we start with Jeremy?
All right. Well, final thoughts. Great to meet the minds behind the organization. Super cool stuff you guys have on the way. So super excited to learn more about that. Hopefully, it just blows up. Like more people talk about it. There's more opportunity to talk about it. I know. Yeah, the circle might be small, but I guess that's the idea, is to just keep doing as much as you can to promote it, start the conversations, answer the questions like you did here on the show. Like, because people are going to be able to listen to this episode later on. Whenever they have the questions, you can refer to them to just be like, hey, we answered it on this show. This is now a resource for your members to share your vision and your passion. So, great work you have here. Keep it up. Just keep it up. Like that's what you got to do. So, any roadblock that hits on the way, you definitely have a lot of people that be willing to help you out. So I think it's super cool to just see this in the future. The future of Heroscape continues even in 2023. But yeah, I don't have much to promo. I mean, it's been a really busy week for me work-wise, so haven't really been able to do anything on my end. But if you ever have any lore questions, that's what I do. I just answer them whenever they get thrown at me. So feel free to pop those every once in a while. And yeah, oh man, what's the saying? I give my time. Or
You give it your time. You point
I
the
give
finger.
my
You throw the
time.
lasso.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
hand off.
usually said I yield my time. But
I yield my time. That's it.
I yield
Yeah.
my.
I pass
yield
the
my time.
torch.
Pass the torch. Yep.
Okay, Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, so I like some of the ideas you guys are talking about here with your project, and I love the fact you're moving the storyline forward. I'm one of the, I think, few oddball people who like it when games moves timelines forward instead of complaining about them, because most people seem to do that on the internet, unfortunately. But hey, I like what you're doing with that. That's an awesome thing to see, this whole Heroscape thing moving into what Age Annihilation could have been anyway. We have no idea where it would have gone, but I see an idea of what it was going. It's pretty cool. So, as for my shameless self-promotions, I'll probably be stuck in Star Wars land for a little bit. I got to play the new Shatterpoint game just a few nights ago, so I'll be talking about that on my channel, as well as painting up the new Ahsoka miniature for Star Wars Legion. And those will be coming out in the next few weeks here or so, depending when I get time for that. So, and you can find all that over on my YouTube channel at Rocker Robotics or tabletopbattlefield.com. And still hiding back here is Legends of Caladagia, my space combat miniatures game over at EmpireUnderSiege.com. And back to you, Ryan.
All right, thank
I
you,
refuse
Jason.
to talk like Congress, so I'm not going to say anything that we usually say.
Okay, Joe, Sir Joe, go ahead.
Boy, I don't know where to start. It is really good to finally meet you guys at NGC. I've been really busy trying to push other work out of the way, get other videos done, so that I could eventually talk about you guys on the channel. So it's been quite busy. There is a line. Sorry. But it is so finally good to finally talk to you guys, learn a little bit more about what you guys are all about, who you guys are, because that is the hard part with, I feel like, with this community. Coming late into the game as a hero escaper and learning about the community, it's really tough to really get into and know, like, who do I trust, who not to trust, who's this, like what is all of this, what is the community's overall idea and thoughts about something, because it's not like there are a lot of YouTubers or content creators out there telling you what's good and what's not good. Like a lot of other communities are, and so you have to read and figure out, or talk to people and just kind of discover. And so like I said, it's word of mouth works really well. And so it's good to finally understand who you guys are, what you guys are all about, what your interests are, what you're expanding on doing, and I love it all. So I'm very, very excited for you guys. So starting this project, it's fantastic. and I can't wait to play with these units. I love the AoA stuff, and I just can't wait. It's gonna be an emotional day when this all becomes commonplace to finally play with these newer units. It's gonna be incredible. So it's awesome. I love it. For the channel this week, just like Ryan, I have internet issues. And so I had a hard time uploading my new battle video.
That's the only one.
So it's gonna come out tomorrow instead of yesterday. But I've been going to tournaments. If you haven't been following up on the channel, I've been going to Massachusetts, Maryland, and so that's not stopping. I've been doing that. I think every month I've been going to an event. I've been traveling about 3 hours away to go to one of these events and meeting with more Heroscapers and playing with everybody in the community, and it's an incredible experience. So if you are out there, go find a group, in your area and go play with them. Even if it's not a tournament at a game store, find a group of friends to play with. It is the best way to do it. To play with this game. Find friends to play with. Not to say that the online community, I just don't play online, but in person is just as good as online. So the video is coming out. It's my first game not my first game, but my first duel where I have two people play against each other from the Maryland group, the Mars group. So look out for that one. It is a blast, and it's also quite short. I know people are looking for shorter content, so it's a good one. And that is on Joe Crazy 3193. Yeah, I yield my time.
Nice.
Where's your tagline?
I know there was an expectation for that.
See, just like you, I'm also tired.
Yeah,
So
I get it.
And not mind shackled.
Totally, I am not mind shackled. I'm mind shackled. I mean, not mind.
Nice. Because I totally believe it.
Praise the hive.
Yeah, he's not crazy. He's not crazy.
Stop me now.
All right.
I can't handle the cringe. I can't handle the cringe. Stop me.
Okay, Lex, go ahead.
Oh, I get to also
Yeah.
have time
later.
later.
The panel.
Oh yeah, you do.
Everybody
Oh,
gets-
you
Lex,
don't
Chad,
get the way that's free. No.
No, that's great. First off, it's really been a pleasure talking to y'all. We're really excited about this. Like, at the end of the day, we're just also fans. We love Heroscape. We love the idea of expanding upon what was offered to us and then pulled away from us very cruelly. You can tell I have a grudge. But we really appreciate getting this time to talk to you guys and share what we can. And I know somebody mentioned earlier about, I think there was something thrown around about getting involved. If there's anybody listening who thinks this project is a cool idea and you want to get involved, we're not hard to find. Our Discord's, I think linked on our website. Feel free to just say, this interests me. I'd like to do this, or this is even an idea I have. Have you all consider this? Worst we can do is listen and then not do it. But we'd still love to hear what the community is interested in, what the community wants to see. And, we've had people like Rogue Idealists just hit us up and be like, hey, do you guys want any help with this? I'd love to offer this. And just like any other project in this community, we're made up of fans, right? I don't have a better word for that. So we'd love to hear if you all want to get involved or want to talk about it. We'd love to talk about it. We'd love to get involved.
All right.
Yeah, I guess I yield my time. I was very circular there. Sorry.
All right. Thanks, sir. And Chad, go ahead.
Hey, it was awesome to meet all you guys. You know what's going on with us. First wave release is on the 31st. Check that out and definitely look forward. We'll announce the release date for Wave 2 on that day as well. So that's coming.
All right.
It was just fantastic. This was such a cool experience. I look forward to getting to play some games with you guys at some point in time. And that's all I have.
All right, absolutely, for sure. All right, and I am Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla. Of course, help do the ToV podcast, but primarily for the Tales of Valhalla, or what should be for the Tales of Valhalla YouTube channel, is creating, producing a stop motion adventure based off the board game Heroscape, which is now, I'm happy to say, season 3 is about to come to a close. I have a date. This is tentative. This subject to change because I start editing the music this coming Wednesday. So live stream this coming Wednesday. I'm starting to edit the music for episodes 8, 9, and 10. And I've been viewing this stuff over and over. It's looking good. It's looking good. And again, episode 10 is a half hour.
Man.
So
I can't wrap my brain around that.
Mark,
That's
and total like time for all 3 episodes is going to be an hour. So yeah, there's that. But so for episode 8 premiere, this is the plan, tentatively. Wednesday, June the 14th is going to be episode 8 premiere. And then the following Sunday and the following Wednesday will be 9 and 10. I have a lot of work to do before then. So I'm planning. This is when I'm gonna get it done. Even if it's like maybe like 99%, I'm still gonna premiere. I'm still gonna premiere it because yeah, it's been quite a journey. These I say years. It's been years. I started Tales of Valhalla YouTube channel actually even before Sir Heroscapes in 2015. Insane, but it's been a fulfilling journey. I can't wait to show what's going to happen at the end of the series that really brings this story arc to a close, yet opens things up for future seasons if I so choose. But we'll talk about more about that when these episodes premiere. So come join me Wednesday, either on the Tales of Valhalla YouTube channel this coming Wednesday, or on the Conductor Productions Twitch channel, to where we'll start editing the music for these episodes and get these episodes wrapped so we can see the end of the story. And again, thank you everybody who commented on the chat. Again, I apologize for the internet issues. Hopefully I'll get them fixed this week, and so I don't have the. I mean, I have fiber optic cable. This shouldn't be happening, but it is because Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will. But we still powered through it, and I think we got still most of this out there live. If there were connectivity issues, or if there is on the replay, I apologize. I will eventually get the segment of talking about NGC in its own video on the main channel. So you'll see that. Thank you for everybody who listens on the audio sphere. And we'll see you next time we'll do a TV podcast. And of course, I'll see you guys this coming Wednesday when I'll do more of Tales of Valhalla. You have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye now.